Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of the weekly Q&A here on this channel. Thanks to all of you that submitted your questions for part 1 that's already been answered in the previous video. And thanks to those of you that asked your questions for part 2. We're going to go ahead and get started now. Falls fan is going to kick us off by asking, is Scottie Pippen overrated or underrated because of Michael Jordan? I think very easily he is underrated. He was massively underrated. Massively. Because even when you look at it statistically, Scottie Pippen deserves so much respect, credit, love, and admiration from so many basketball fans because he was truly like when you think about you have a Batman and a Robin, you always hear that saying. You think about Kobe and Shaq and how Robin wanted to be Batman and Batman was dying, so to speak, and he still wanted to be Batman, thinking he could do the same Batman shit, and it didn't work and it blew up in everybody's face. But Scottie Pippen was unselfish enough and understood his role enough that he could be a star, he could be a superstar, he could be an elite player in the league and still take a clear-cut backseat to Michael Jordan because that was best for the team. Scottie Pippen will always have my respect and admiration. Scottie Pippen was a stud. Scottie Pippen is still the best perimeter defender I have ever seen. You can take your Bruce Bowens and everybody else and shove them up your fucking asses. Scottie Pippen was incredible. He was an incredibly skilled player. He could do all types of things. He was a part of 6 championship teams. You know, when you hear the saying of Jordan wouldn't have won a single ring without Scottie Pippen, it's because he fucking wouldn't. It pisses me off when people so often forget about Scottie Pippen and his true greatness. He was a shut-down, lockdown perimeter defender. Ask Kevin Johnson. Ask Mark Jackson. Ask so many other fucking guys. Hell, ask Magic in the 91 finals when Pippen would get on him at times. Magic couldn't bring the ball up the damn floor. I mean, Pippen was just amazing, man. And you saw it in those that year and a half plus that Michael Jordan was off saving the universe from the basketball playing aliens called the Monstars. Again, documented in the greatest documentary of all time because it's a true story in Space Jam. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they took Sean Bradley's powers. What were we supposed to do? You go to God's incarnate here on Earth, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and of course, he saves the fucking day. He saved the day. You saw what Pippen did when Jordan wasn't there, though. I mean, to me, Pippen should have won the MVP in the 93-94 season. No offense to anybody else. But this was a team that Jordan had went off to save the universe, and the Bulls really didn't skip a beat. They won damn near 60 games that year. That's an MVP. I always think that's one of the great oversights in terms of NBA MVP awards of all time. It's not to take away from some of the other great legends and stars of that time, but Pippen, man, he was the MVP that year. Voices of Logic, or Voice of Logic. Your thoughts on Donald Trump taking immigrant kids and putting them in military bases and locking them up? Here's what I'll say. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this country enforcing its laws, specifically pertaining to immigration. There is nothing wrong with that. There is a legal process, and people come here illegally. And there should be some type of culpability, accountability, responsibility taken for that, while still being sensitive to the humanity of the situation and understand that people are fleeing for their lives, they're fleeing for their livelihoods, to have a chance at a better life for themselves and their families. They are desperate, and desperate people are going to do desperate things. So it is easy to sit on the outside, look, and judge, but we really shouldn't. What has happened in this particular case, though, is that when you spend every single waking day bitching about the current president and all the dumb, idiotic shit he says and does, then there's no differentiation, there's no prioritization in anything, and as a result, something that should be incredibly serious, something that should bother everybody, is an issue, but not the level of issue that it needs to be to make that horrendous policy stop. Can't bitch about every single thing the guy does and expect him to then just change his tune. You can't expect your efforts to rally against this to be successful because literally you're complaining about everything the guy is involved in. Yeah. I think there's something fundamentally fucked up with separating kids from their families like that. Already a traumatic enough time. Do we need to make it any more so? It feels like a real dickhole move. And I hate to pull this card, but I will pull this card. I'm pretty sure Jesus would not agree with that. It's just a thought. Just a thought. Frederick Lowhouse asks, how do you think the New York Knicks draft went? It doesn't matter how it went. And that's pretty much what it is. I think Knox is a good fit for them. I think Knox has some upside, but it really doesn't matter. The Hype asks, will the NBA ever get rid of the salary cap? I do not see that happen either. I could see it being more likely where each team is going to get one player or one contract that they can exempt outside of the salary cap, because eventually you're going to get to a point where max contracts can be worth anywhere between $30 to $40 million a season. With the salary cap being around $105 million, that means you could basically pay three guys $30 million each, and then everybody else is battling for peanuts. It's just not sustainable and viable long term to do things like this. I don't think they'll get rid of the salary cap though, but something does need to be done. Kevin Sheridan, do you have scripts for your rant videos or do you just freestyle? I typically just freestyle. I feel it, I sense it, I know it, and I run with it. And then he also asks, also, if LeBron goes west, does that mean it's Philadelphia versus Boston is pretty much locked in the Eastern Conference Finals? I'd say so. Like, who the hell else is going to be a real challenger there? Yakum Flavor, what kind of music do you like? Honestly, I don't listen to a ton of music now. I really haven't over the years. Just not really my deal, just not really my vice. So I don't really know if I have like a favorite type of music that I like. RG3 GOAT, where do you think LeBron, Paul George, and DeMarcus Cousins will end up next season? I think DeMarcus Cousins stays put in New Orleans if he's willing to not take a big-time max contract, but we'll see if that's what he'll do or not, because I think he likes the money. He might end up in Chicago, for God's sakes. No, 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 no. On no part of Boogie Cousins. But if I had to handicap it right now, I still think New Orleans has a bit of an edge there. Paul George, he might very well opt in OKC. If he doesn't, Philadelphia should be calling and the Lakers should be calling. I get the sense that maybe he would still stay in OKC, but if he doesn't, Philadelphia's got to be the logical destination for him. And then LeBron, there's still a part of me that thinks he's going to stay in Cleveland when all is said and done, even if he does another one of those 1+1 contracts where he can opt out after next season. Sean Pradzinski asks, how would you grade the Bulls draft? It's a solid B to me. I am not surprised in any way, shape, or form that Wendell Carter and Chandler Hutchinson were the two picks. I think they are two solid players. I think they are two guys that are going to contribute. I don't know if you got major impact or superstar ability out either one of those guys, but for me personally, again, like I talked about before, I like Wendell Carter more than I like Marvin Bagley. So take that to mean whatever you think. I thought it was a solid draft for the Bulls. Yes, they tanked to get role players, but I feel like they tanked and got pretty good role players at that. Master Saru Watari. I'm so sorry. It is late and I'm tired. So I'm fucking up all over the place. How would you reformat the playoffs for Major League Baseball? I wish I could cut out some of the regular season games and make the regular season like 144 to 152 games. But otherwise, I don't have a problem with the current playoff format. I just don't. I'm perfectly fine with how it is. Zach Powers, who is more annoying? Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, or Colin Cowherd? Stephen A. has times where he can be on the money. So he has issues in my mind, but he's not the most annoying. Skip Bayless knows he's a troll, embraces he's a troll, and trolls very, very well. I really don't get worked up by him. To me, it's Cowturd. He's got to be clearly the worst of the three, because he will say bullshit in misleading ways that lacks proper context, and then be surprised when anybody dares disagree with his fraudulent ass. So to me, the most annoying person out of those three has to be Colin Cowherd. Real Benzillion asks, in 2004 you picked Germany to win the World Cup. Who do you have this time? I don't fucking know. And because it's soccer and I'm here in the States, I don't fucking care. Jared Cador, would Hakeem's Rockets have beaten the Jordan-led Bulls in 94 and 95? That is an excellent question. Excellent, excellent question. The Bulls bias in me, the Jordan bias in me says that there's no way. But man, Hakeem in those two seasons was just otherworldly stuff right there. I think the Bulls would beat them, but those series would go 6, if not 7 games. That Shadow Siren asks, since the Magic didn't draft a point guard, should they sign one? And if so, who? The bigger question is, what the fuck does it matter? because they're the Magic. The hell do you think they're going to be able to get in free agency at like the point guard position that's really going to help them? Do they have a big boner for Rajon Rondo or something? Good luck bringing him into the Magic's locker room. I'm just saying. Um, yeah, so I'm sure they will try to sign one. I just don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. Tristan asked, if Michael Porter Jr. doesn't work out, will he go down with the likes of Grant Hill, Brandon Roy, Penny Hardaway, T-Mac, and Greg Oden as guys that could have been all-time greats but ultimately weren't because of injuries? I think that's a pretty ambitious list to put him on, but he most certainly would be a disappointment, that is for sure. One Shot You Die 55 asks, thoughts on Grayson Allen's fit with the Utah Jazz? White boy drafted by the team in Salt Lake City, Utah seems to be a perfect fit, doesn't it? But in all seriousness, style of play, they could use a little attitude on that team on the floor, and that's what Grayson Allen could provide. He provides a little bit of athleticism. He provides some range. He's a guy that can get up in your face and defend a little bit. So I can envision as a rookie, he have a role where he'd play 20 plus minutes a game and contribute nicely. That's what I would think his role could potentially be. Scooster asks, your favorite NBA player at each position all time. Okay. So we got to go point, two guard, small forward, power forward, center. Center's Hakeem, as you alluded to. The shooting guard is obvious, is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. The small forward also should be incredibly obvious, and that's Scottie Pippen. In terms of like the power forward position, if you want to go there, I probably would go with Larry Legend, Larry Bird. And then as far as point guards go, favorite at each position. Favorite. Oh, shit. Who would be my favorite point guard of all time? Favorite point guard of all time? Probably Magic. And Gio Knows closes this out by asking, should LeBron go to LA with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and or DeMar DeRozan? I just think on a variety of different levels, it doesn't make sense for him to go to LA if anywhere close to the team that the Lakers have currently constructed. I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I just don't see it. Could be wrong, but I just don't see where that makes a lot of sense. I just don't. But anyways, that is it for this Q&A. Again, thanks to all of you that submitted your questions. Don't take it personally, but I'm done doing videos for the night. I need to get more than 4 hours of sleep, so I'll see you later.